And so that's where chocolate comes from, really.
Right, right.
Right, right. All right. So how was your week, Tasha?
My week was pretty good. I worked a little bit, and so I got a little bit of training, and I got to check out the new year's lesson plans because our district is doing the lesson plans for us, kind of, this year,
Mm-hmm.
which is different from any other year I've ever taught. And then, let's see. And yesterday we celebrated Father's Day at my in-laws' house, and today we're gonna celebrate it with my folks.
Okay. I was about to say yesterday wasn't Father's Day though, but
Yeah.
now that makes sense.
Yep. How
So
was your week?
wait, well, hang on, because I still need to ask you. It's June. It's the middle of June specifically, and you were at work.
Yeah, there's summer trainings I need to do. I need at least 12 hours of summer classes every year.
That sounds dumb.
It is.
You're a teacher. Teachers should have summer vacation just like students.
I know, right? That's what my dad was saying the other day.
Yeah, but my week was
Yeah.
yeah. So it started off. It was really really good. Things were going well, and then I went out to go work uh Wednesday night, or maybe Tuesday night, something like that. Anyway, I got gas, and then when I went to go start my car, it wouldn't start.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I was stuck at the gas station, the Walmart gas station in Cedar Hill,
Jeez.
and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" And then I was like, "Well, it's definitely something to do with the battery. It could be the starter, the battery, or the alternator. I don't know what though." So I had my parents pick me up and take me home, and then my mom actually talked to a woman that she works with who has a husband that's a mechanic, and he said that he would take it and fix it for me.
Sweet.
So he fixed it. It still cost me close to $500, which I was not happy about because I was
Jeez. I
kind
thought,
of working on saving money.
yeah, I thought it was for saving money, but yeah, that's a lot. That's a pretty
Yeah,
penny.
well, I mean, it would have been way more expensive had I taken it to like the dealership to get it done because
Yeah.
it was the starter, and the battery also needed to be replaced. But let me tell you how stupid this design is on the Ford.
Okay.
So the battery isn't in a spot that you can just easily. So you have to so there's a tray that kind of goes between your hood and your windshield.
Okay. I know that now.
So there's a tray there, and then you have to take that tray off. And in order to take that tray off, you also have to remove your windshield wipers.
Okay.
So there's all these clips. Then you have to remove your windshield wipers. You have to remove that tray. Then there's another tray underneath that you have to take off that is screwed down by bolts. You have to take that off of there. And then you can get to the battery because the battery sits mostly underneath where the windshield is. That's how
That
far
sounds like
back the battery is.
that sounds like a lot of unnecessary work.
It is. It very much is. And then I was looking online before I had anybody go, take it. And most people online were saying that once they replaced the battery themselves, they had trouble getting their windshield wipers synced back up because they had to, take them off before. And then when they
Yeah.
put them back on, they couldn't get them to sync up correctly.
No.
Yeah. So I was like, well, looks like I'm not doing this one myself. And so that's when, we had that guy do it. And now it's having a problem though where it's overheating for a little bit. So
Yeah.
I think it just needs to be topped off with more coolant, but
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the coolant to do it yet. So I think I might just take it to Firestone tomorrow and tell them to do it and do my oil change at the same time.
Yeah.
So that was not fun. But then Uber gave me $100, so that was nice. They sent me an extra $100 for the days that I was suspended.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Was it the days that they suspended you for?
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So it was like our bad.
Yeah. Basically.
Well, that's good. That was a while ago, wasn't it?
I mean, it's been about a month, probably.
Wonder what.
Maybe not even that. Maybe just a few weeks.
Okay. It's still strange, the delay. Dang.
Were you hearing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's going fast.
Well, they were revving their engine outside the house, which doesn't make any sense. It's like it's 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, chill
Yeah.
out.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your stupid engine.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Anyway, but so yeah, that was most of my week.
Okay.
So you ready to get into it?
Yep.
All right. Hit him with that intro, Tasha.
Welcome to What M Dreams. I'm one of your hosts, Tasha, and I'm here with,
Dustin.
and we're here to talk to you about dreams. Dreams, dreams, dreams.
All right. Well, I did not do a whole lot of dreaming this past week. I really only had two, but I can't remember one of them. I meant to write it down, and then I fell back asleep, and I couldn't.
Oh, I had a lot of dreams, and some of them I wrote down.
I know you sent me some messages with titles for your dreams,
Yeah, I did.
but the one dream that I could remember actually involves a friend of mine that you know that is currently in the process of getting ready for IVF,
Oh,
and she's supposed to have the transfer done next month, I believe.
yeah.
And the dream weird felt premonitionish
Mm,
as a word we were bringing back. You like that? We hadn't done
yeah,
that one in a while,
we have not.
but it was weird because she was pregnant, and I remember having my head rested kind of on her belly, like listening to the baby.
That's cool.
Yeah. Like I said, she hasn't had the transfer yet. It's supposed to happen next month, but I'm hoping that it was a premonitionish dream.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, because I know she really wants the kids. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. That reminds me of a dream that I had a while back. I forget when, but I ended up finding that I dreamt about it on accident yesterday, just searching through my texts for something. I forget what I was searching for, but I found that I had a dream that Joanna was pregnant again.
Oh,
And Joanna, my sister-in-law, and she is pregnant again.
I know. That's crazy. And I
Yep.
mean, she just had a second one not that long ago.
Yep.
So for her to be pregnant again already, I was like,
It was.
geez, all right.
Yep. It was almost. I forget what. Is it called an Irish wedding? I feel like I said this before. I might have. Not a wedding.
Oh,
Irish pregnancy? No.
no, I don't know what that is.
Oh. It's something like you get pregnant again soon after you just given birth. There's like a window for it and to be considered an Irish pregnancy. I think it's Irish pregnancy. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought maybe it had something to do with a leprechaun.
No. It comes by and kicks you in the shin and says, "You're pregnant." and runs away giggling.
Surprised the leprechaun didn't have an Irish accent.
I can't do Irish very well.
You were just like, "You're pregnant."
That's it.
Yeah, that's so. When I was hanging out with our friend the other day, she was she was talking about Ivan, and that's why I asked how old Ivan was. Because, like I said, he's young, and she was like, "He's not that young." I was like, "He's young,"
Yeah, he's young.
although I did think he was a lot younger than he is.
Really? That's
Well,
funny.
because I think I originally told her like 22, and then I was like, "Nah, 24." And then when y'all were like 26, I was like, "Well, all right."
Yep. We're actually celebrating his birthday next Sunday.
Oh,
Yep. Which reminds me, Shelby finally answered and said that she was not able to next Sunday because they're celebrating Father's Day that day. Do D&D
ah,
the second session.
yeah, okay, all right.
So I'm gonna shoot for a time in July maybe, because I feel like I'm getting the vibe now. Nessa was teasing me about it. He's like, "Can you take a hint, Tasha? Because they don't want to play." And I'm like, "No, no, they tell me." But now I'm thinking, I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't tell me. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to hurt your feelings, so they won't tell you.
Yeah, maybe not. Who knows? I know my recommendation for today. Okay,
All right.
before I tell you about a dream, I was gonna mention what I told you in my text messages or in text message. Remember when I told you Ernesto woke up, like he snored, and in the same breath, he had woken up and said something to me?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was so freaking weird. So, what he did was he was fully asleep for like a good 20 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
It was at night, and I think I was scrolling through my phone, or I was reading, or I don't know what I was doing. And then, in the same breath of snore, like he inhaled, and then in the exhale of his snore, he wakes up immediately to finish or to say a complete sentence. I forget what he said. Yeah, I don't remember what he said, but he wakes up and says a whole sentence to me. Like he didn't even finish a breath. He went, and that's when I blah 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 blah. It was so it was so unsettling. I tried to wake his ass up and tell him quit being creepy, and he wouldn't wake up fully.
Nice.
No, not nice. Stay sleeping or be awake.
No, you're being too sensitive.
Mm-mm.
It could have been worse.
I mean, I guess it could have. Okay, so let me tell you about one of my dreams. I titled this one Teens Escape Cop. That was my title.
Mhm.
Okay, I dreamed. Hang on, I have to find it now. Okay, in this dream, I dreamt I was a teenager and I was running around with a tall friend. I don't know who he was in real life, but he was blonde. That's all I remember in the dream about what he looked like. But we're running from the cops along with a bunch of other degenerate teenagers who did something bad. I don't know what we did. It was dumb. And we all hid in like this alley. In the dream, it was an alley. Thinking about it now, awake, it was more like a U-shaped hallway that was just there. Kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like a back hallway in a mall. And some of us got caught by the cops. They saw us go down the hallway. But the others, like myself, because I'm a mastermind, I didn't get caught because I snuck out of the hall and pretended to be part of the general crowd that was just outside of the hallway. And the crowd, for some reason, was not like people walking around. It was all of a sudden as if we were in like a daycare center and there were people playing with babies and toddlers all over the place. And so I just walked out of the hallway and knelt down and started playing with a random toddler.
All
And there were like little
right.
tiny toys everywhere. And I was doing my best to look inconspicuous so the cops wouldn't notice that I was one of the teenagers they were looking for. So playing with this one baby toddler, it looked like it was about to cry. And I'm like, thinking to myself, don't fucking cry, don't fucking cry, because I didn't want any attention drawn to me. Nobody else was crying.
Wow.
I was like, God damn it, this baby better not cry. And that's all I remember of that dream.
I want to know if you got caught.
Knowing me, probably.
Yeah, it seems legit.
Well, that was dumb. I don't know why I had babies on the mind, but I do.
Babies are all over the place. Everybody's having babies.
That's why. But like my dreams on that same day or that same night had to do with like babies or being pregnant or toddlers or whatever. The next one I titled "Dumb Prego Lady,"
All right.
and it wasn't me. I wasn't the dumb one. It was some other dumb bitch,
Mhm.
some dumb dream bitch. Okay, it was in this dream. I dreamt I was pregnant. Okay, I wasn't the dumb one, but I was pregnant, and so was another lady, and we were both going into labor, and we were in a hospital, and there weren't enough rooms to have our own room, so we had to share a hospital room. And I think I dreamt that because dads had to share several rooms at the VA. Anyways, and this lady who was in labor was freaking the fuck out. She was not calm at all. And she wanted all the attention from the doctors because she was freaking out. She was like trying to take the attention away from me and keep it on her. I'm like, this fucking bitch. And she was like screaming. I mean, she looked fine, but I guess something could have been going on. But she was like, my God, I'm gonna pass out. I'm gonna pass out. And like the doctors weren't taking her seriously because they felt like she was putting on a show too. And she like stood up on top of her bed and she was like, I'm gonna pass out. And then the nurses, so the nurses checked on her and like her vitals and all that and checked on the baby and she was fucking fine. She was fine. Um, and after they like were all swarming her, she didn't scream or have any issues at all. It seemed like everything was going fucking well. Okay.
Yeah.
But but it was so stupid that she got so worked up she'd stand on top of her bed and scream. And I was like, this lady is super extra. Meanwhile, I was having my own baby nice and calmly, but the dream turned to like third person point of view where I was like watching myself
Yeah.
and I didn't see myself give birth, but I saw myself just after I gave birth. And for some
Mhm.
reason I was unconscious and I was lying on the floor. This was normal in the dream. I don't know why. I was on the floor. But the nurses were not concerned and they're like, everything's going well. So looking at that, it was completely normal apparently. I don't know why. Being on the floor in a hospital after giving birth.
Yeah.
And
Seems
then
legit.
no, no. Then the nurses like they were slowly waking me up, trying to get me conscious again. They're getting a little concerned and did like in the old days where they let you sniff something, some sort of strong smell to try and wake you up.
Yeah, smelling salts.
Yeah, they they were trying to do that, and they were like slapping me around a bit to wake me up. But I woke up just fine. And then they handed me my chunky little baby, like a prize, like a trophy. And it was a boy, and he looked like Julian when he was a baby, really, really chunky, and cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all I remember from that dream.
So do you want another one?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I don't know. It sounds like your subconscious is telling you do.
No, no, bruv.
I don't know.
Absolutely
Maybe
not.
maybe Nesto does too.
No, he don't. No, he don't. And if he does, no, he don't. And I saw this daddy long legs in my closet just like 5 minutes ago. And now, like, I don't see him anymore, and I feel like he's crawling on me every now and then.
He is, for sure.
Shut up! No, he's not.
They're harmless though, so it's fine. He's made a nest in your hair.
No.
Yeah?
This third one was also weird, and it was about a toddler. What did I title it? titled it something about a haunted toddler. Haunted toddler ghost. This one was kind of funny.
That sounds ridiculous.
It is. Okay. In this dream, I dreamt I was trying to escape out of this haunted house. So I was there with a friend in this haunted house, like a legit one, not like a fake one. And I don't remember who the friend was, but we were there. It was a holiday celebration in this house. And it was her house. And she showed me around, and it was huge. So she showed me around her big ass house and all the decor that she had, like just showing off. And I'm like, oh, so cool, very pretty. And then she brought me to her bedroom where she wanted to watch a movie. And so she put on a movie, and I got bored immediately. So I got up
Okay.
and I went to go explore her house by myself. And I ended up outside on her front
You
porch.
nosy as fuck.
I am in real life too. Uh, I ended up outside on her front porch, and I remember dropping my phone, and it broke into pieces. And then I went inside to ask to borrow her phone, and all of a sudden, her and her entire family were in their living room watching a movie. And they had some big ass dogs too, but they weren't trained. They weren't trained. And I tried to get her to put my mom's number in her phone because I couldn't figure out how to work her phone that she let me borrow. Like it wasn't working for me. And I ended up just giving up and trying to walk out. I decided I was going to walk home by myself. I didn't need to call her. I was just going to walk home. And then as I was like making my way towards their door, one of their big ass dogs started to nip me right in my butt cheek. It started to bite me,
He
and I was
probably
like,
deserved it.
I didn't do anything except be nosy. And I was like, he's biting me? Like I was trying to tell her and her family, like, your dog is biting me? Do I just, what do I do? Do I just tell him to leave it? and I, and I did. So I was like, leave it. And that worked. He
Leave it?
stopped biting me.
Really?
Yeah, like he was chewing something he wasn't supposed to. Like my fucking ass cheek.
No, leave it where it is. You don't need that.
Leave it.
That's my butt.
Yeah. And so after he left it, my butt cheek and it was like a giant greyhound. It was one of those.
Hmm. Those are big dogs.
Yeah. So I kept walking under her house, but I wasn't able to walk out completely because, come to find out, there was a ghost by the door. I couldn't walk. It was an obstacle. I was like, oh, great. And the ghost was in the form of a toddler. But I knew the ghost took many forms, so I wasn't duped.
Wait a second. I forgot that that was the title of this stupid fucking dream until right now. Because, like, you had me on this other story, and I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And now I'm like, oh, yeah, that is the title of this dream. All right.
I
Keep
guess it
going.
is more like oh, by the way, this house is haunted kind of dream. So, anyways, the toddler, I knew it was a ghost, and I knew the ghost took many forms. So, it wasn't fooling me. It was more like thinking about it awake, thinking about the dream awake now. It was more like a witch instead of a ghost.
Okay.
In, in my dream, it was a ghost. So I tried to escape, despite there being ghosts in front of me, and the little toddler ghost wouldn't let me. And she transported me, like I was able to get out of the house and start walking away. But then she transported me all the way back to the house, um, to the front steps, on a clear floating magic disc thingy, kind of like a magic carpet, only it was a disc.
Yeah.
And I kept doing that, and I got pretty far, but got I never got to go completely away because the disc kept taking me back. So when I got back, I was like, fuck this. I started trying to kick the shit out of this toddler ghost baby thing. it would let me go. And my friend and her family were like they came up on me because they saw they heard a ruckus, and they were like, "Why are you kicking this toddler?" And I'm like, "It's a ghost! It's a ghost! It's not a toddler, it's a fucking ghost!" And they believed me and started trying to help me, and that's all I remember from that dream.
So y'all all ganged up on this toddler.
Yeah, toddler ghost. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Sure it was.
it's fucking ghost.
It just reminds me of that thing I sent you. It was like anytime I see a toddler walk in front of me, and then the lady's singing, she goes, "Kick it."
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was definitely kicking a toddler ghost in my dream.
you're crazy.
I don't know why it had heft to it. Ghosts shouldn't have a heft.
Pretty sure that means that it wasn't a ghost, and you just kicked a child,
Well, it was a ghost, right? All right, or maybe it was a witch. But fuck that toddler
or
ghost thing.
maybe it was just a child.
No, maybe. I had a couple more.
Nah, there's two more I know that you sent me the titles of:
Okay, these
Apocalypse
ones.
Post Stress and Escalator High School.
Apocalypse post stress.
This is exciting.
It's not a very long one.
Oh,
So in Apocalypse post stress, I dreamt that I was walking around. It was a very nice and sunny day. I was with Mom and Alice and the boys in an abandoned suburban neighborhood because this was after the apocalypse. For some reason, I knew this in my dream. So we were just taking a casual stroll through this neighborhood of empty houses. And like I said, it was a nice day. Mom had the boys in like a wagon. They're giggling. Me and Alice were kind of messing around. Everything seemed dandy. And then all of a sudden, Alice had to poo. And she was stressing because she's like, I don't want to go. And I'm like, just pick any one of these houses to go into. Use their toilet like a normal person. And then come back outside. She's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to poo on somebody else's toilet. I was like, I'll go with you inside the house. And she's like, "Ugh, I still don't want to go." And that's all I remember from that dream. Just Alice stressing about pooing.
I kind of feel like I could see Alice being that way.
Yeah, they weren't like zombies or anything. I
Yeah,
feel like she was overreacting, just
I
like a teenager.
yeah, for sure. My God, teenagers and they're overreacting.
Yeah.
Did
What were you gonna say?
I don't remember, but I was gonna ask you a question just now. Did I tell you about the girls that were in the back seat of my car last week?
Nope.
That I picked them up from a bar over in North Dallas, and they were youngish. They were in their 20s, probably college, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and they were drunk, but one of them was totally crushing on the bartender of the bar they were at. And
Gosh.
she was just like, "Oh my God, I love him." And she was like going on and on about this to the point where she even at one point was like, "I just wanted to go jump him in the bathroom at the bar."
Jesus.
And I was like, "Oh dear Lord." I was like, "Please, please don't ruin his life. Please don't do that." So, yeah, when you we're talking about teenagers overreacting, I was like, "Yeah, in their 20s they do too."
Gosh.
So what was your other dream about?
My other dream. What did I title it? I titled it Escalator High School. I think I dreamt this one because at Universal, in their big ass parking garages, they had like tons of escalators and like those walking conveyor belts that you could walk on like at the airport.
Yeah.
I had those too. It was a big thing. Anyway, so in this dream, I dreamt I was it was kind of like I was watching a movie. I was watching this young man. He was tall, and he looked like one of my kids that I taught last year, but he wasn't that kid for some. I don't know why. He just looked like him in my dream. In my dream, I knew that he was used to living in the country, and in the dream, he was in the city. So he was forced to go to public school in the city, and I guess it was an experiment just to see what it was like to live in the city and go to school in the city. The school that he was going to had many, many floors, maybe a dozen. This was a big ass school, and each of the floors had escalators going up and down. And I remember him looking for his classroom because he was brand new and he didn't know where it was, but he did know, and I remember the number for some reason. He knew it was in classroom 501. So it was like before the first class started, where people were getting to their classes, and he rode all the escalators to all floors and then back again. And when he returned, I guess that was part of the dream too. When he returned, he told me, um, I haven't found it. And I was like, you're about to be late, so you need to get to your classroom. I guess I was a bitch because he didn't know where he was going. And he grabbed some friendly kid who was walking by and told him, take me to room 501. And the kid was like, it's easy, dude. It's just the fifth floor, room 501. And, the kid didn't care. He just grabbed him. And pushed him towards the escalator. He's like, just take me, man. Just take me. And the kid was like, okay, fine. I'll show you. So he escorted him all the way to the fifth floor. And I saw them arrive on the fifth floor. So it was like a movie again. And there weren't very many people on the floor. I saw like maybe one or two. And this school was big. And it looked more like on the fifth floor, like an abandoned, rundown basement instead of a floor of a high school. There were like lights flickering, water was dripping from spaces in the ceiling. And he finally found his classroom. It was at the very end of the hallway. And we opened the door, and there were already kids seated in there. So he was like, okay, so this is not uh unusual. Everybody just goes here. And it looked more like the classroom itself. It looked more like a small apartment with no furniture than it did a classroom. So he sat down. He was whining about coming to the city, and I ended up opening the window blinds for him so that he could see how beautiful it was, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful view of the tops of the city we were in, and he was like, "Wow, I won't complain anymore." It just changed his whole day. And then the dream changed, and it wasn't a classroom anymore. It was like an apartment room or a hotel room, and there were no kids in it, and I was there, and I was waiting for my kids, my own kids, to find this room I was in and meet me there for some reason. They weren't in there with me, but they were on their way. And that's all I remember from that dream.
All right.
I don't know why I jumped about that.
I don't know.
Escalators, though. I do love riding escalators.
I don't love riding escalators. I used to, and then I watched Final Destination, and
Jaws.
now I'm like, nope, no, thank you.
I don't remember that in Final Destination.
You don't? Yeah, it was bad.
Everything was bad in those movies.
It was very bloody.
Gross.
Yeah, those movies were gross.
Yeah. Universal parking lot situation. I enjoyed not walking as much as I needed to and using escalators. Disney parking situations, though, there's no parking garages, but they have like
Oh, really?
a whole tram system where
Yeah,
they
that's
take,
cool.
yeah, or they take you on a train of trams from right by your parking space all the way up to the front. And I'm like, wow, this is like one of my favorite rides at Disney, so because I don't have to walk as much. It made my top five.
Nice. Yeah, I saw your extensive photo collection
Yep,
that you put on Facebook.
I have so many more. That was me limiting myself.
Dear Lord. I don't know how you got Ernesto to not only pose for pictures, but smile
I
in
know,
those
right?
pictures.
Actually, he was
I
the
was like,
first.
huh,
He was the first to do it while we were there. He was
really?
like, "You get in the picture. I'll get in the picture too. Come on." And I was like, "No." So for a while, I wasn't in the pictures because I didn't want to. And he was in the pictures with the kids by himself. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
this is unlike him at all. But maybe he's like, we're probably never coming back here, so it'd be cool if people
Have
knew
all
I
the
was
memories.
here
Yeah.
or to remember. Yeah. So
And Alice
eventually,
looks the same in every single picture, by the way.
yeah, she does.
Her face does not change.
Nope. I did catch her off guard some pictures. And then one time I got a video of her. We're on this. It wasn't like a real go kart track because it had a rail to guide every car so
Yeah.
that little kids could drive or steer. I think that was the point of the rail. But uh, when we were all standing in line, I was like, "You want to drive?" And she's like, "Yeah." And when she got in and we got going, like I guess it was really hard for her to stay straight for some reason. So we were like, bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang on either side of the rail. And I was like, dang, girl. And she was like, I'm going to cry. And I was just laughing my ass off. And I took a video of her and us going boom, boom, boom on the tram, or on the track. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And when we got off, I was like, so how'd you drive? Because the boys got to drive. And they're like, I did really good. I did really good. And I was like, Alice did not.
Have you started teaching her to drive yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. She'd drive home sometimes last school year.
Well, that's good.
Is it? I don't
I don't
know,
know. I
man.
mean, are you not
Alice?
excited about it?
No, I'm scared, like a regular parent. My child on the roads. Hmm.
Does she actually make you nervous, or is it just the idea of her driving?
Mostly the idea. But there were some times, man. I had her, I had her driving around our neighborhood, like before I started having her drive home from school.
Yeah.
Like one of those days, I remember her um passing a stop sign very, very slowly, by the way. I was like, Alice, there's a stop sign. Alice, there's a stop sign. Alice, there's a stop sign. And she just continued to pass it. And and then just after that, she almost ran us into a ditch. I'm like, Alice, turn the wheel. We're gonna go in the ditch. We're going in the ditch. Alice. And she'd say, oopsie. She thinks she's so funny. But
Yeah.
when I got home and I was telling Nesto and my parents about it, they were like, why were you yelling at her? That's like the last thing you're supposed to do. And I'm like, she was passing a stop sign. And they were like, still, that's not how you do it. And I'm like, "Ugh, fine. It was my fault.
Yeah.
And
Reminds me.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I mess with her a lot, like just on it, off the road. And so at some points, like she'll ask me, like, I remember her one time, we were at a T we were going we had to turn left and there were people passing by on the other side of the road. I forget, I don't know the terms for it, but they were passing us by. We had to wait our turn to turn left. And she was like, do I go? Do I go? And I'm like, no, you gotta wait. And she's like, I go. I go. And she's like, you're just messing with me. And she ended up going and pulling out in front of this one dude. And I'm like, I told you no. So after that, I had to establish that I'm not playing around when I tell her things on the road. So I guess I mess with her too much.
So, two things. Reminds me of when I taught our friend to drive,
Mhm.
but also the I Go thing made me think of that Key and Peele skit. The is for me maybe.
Yeah.
It's like, do I go? I go. I go now. Yeah, I go. But yeah, I think she'll do all right. You know, once she's got a few more hours under her belt of doing it. You know,
Yeah. She's just gotta study for that damn test. I don't think she studied at all. I keep begging her about it. I
the written portion isn't hard. It's actually the driving portion that's the worst.
don't think she's tried parallel parking. That was the most intimidating for me.
It's not that bad. You know, just make sure that when she's doing it, that she asks the instructor for very specific instructions on how they want the parallel parking done. Because I remember the first time I took the test, I failed it because I thought that they wanted me to like have the cone that's in front and back of me right centered in the car. But
Yeah.
no, they wanted it all the way to the left side of the car. And I was like, well, you didn't tell me that.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I had to parallel park between, I think it was a cone and a pole.
Yeah. It wasn't bad though. I mean, the second time I took the test, I passed just fine.
That's good. Yeah, lots of her friends are going to driving school. It's right across the
Yeah.
street from the high school. And she's not going to do that, but
Hmm.
she can just learn with.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. All right. Well, I guess we're done with dreams then
Yep.
for the day. All right. Well, I think it's time for recommendations then.
Recommendation.
And I know you already said that you have your recommendation ready,
Yeah.
and I actually have mine ready as well. So go ahead. What is your recommendation?
My recommendation is Hitman on Netflix with
God.
deal with it.
I
Why?
literally just talked to Irene about our conversation with this, and I just saw the text messages again about it. I have no idea what this is that you're talking about. I haven't seen it, but go ahead.
Like it.
I was just disappointed that you didn't know who Timothy Oliphant was.
Yeah, I didn't. I think his name is Glenn Powell, the actor.
Yeah.
Glenn Powell. Yeah, Glenn Powell. Okay. In this movie, this man is a fake hitman, which is apparently a thing that civilians can do. Well, I don't know if they can be the hitman, but they could work with police departments to, like, what's it called?
Pretend.
Yeah, or to nail people who are hiring people to be hitmen. So
Yeah.
in the film, it starts off by talking about how like he's narrating in a voiceover. He says that people don't a lot of people don't know that hitmen aren't real, and so it's just like a thing made up by movies. But
Hmm.
people actually still hire people to try and off somebody. They'll hire complete strangers off of, you know, what's that one? The Craigslist and all that shit.
Yeah.
And so he said it's actually really easy to fool people into thinking that they're real. He starts off helping an undercover cop be a hitman, but then something happens where that cop can no longer pretend because he's in trouble with the cops. Like, he gets suspended. And in the meantime, this civilian who's been helping them, like in the van, they ask him to step in on the fly because um one of their targets, the undercover cop, all of a sudden can't work. And so they're like, we need somebody to step in right now because, the person's waiting for our meeting, and they choose the civilian guy to try it out just while the undercover cop cannot. So it was supposed to be a temporary thing, and he ends up getting into it, and it is so funny. Like,
Yeah.
he's the most unassuming guy in real life in the movie. He's like a professor and super dorky. He has cats at home, and he takes on like the persona of people like to target his audience, which is the people hiring other hitmen. So he'll like research the folk who are looking for a hitman, and then try to like fine tune his look and his mannerisms.
Yes.
So if you're into like undercover cop movies, or it's also a bit of a romance, if you're into romance, action, suspense, then check out Hitman on Netflix.
Okay. Yeah, I had actually seen the preview for it.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was called when you asked me about it. And
yeah,
then I had no idea who Glenn Powell was, but apparently he's also going to be in the new Twisters movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was funny because when I went to go see the movie that is going to be my recommendation, they had the trailer for Twisters, and I was like, "Oh, Twisters!" And then my friend, she was watching it with me, and I mentioned that you didn't know who Timothy Oliphant was, and she went, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." She was instead talking about some guy named Glenn Powell. I was like, "I didn't know who that was," and she goes, "That guy." She pointed at the guy from Twisters, and I was like, "Okay,
Yeah, that guy.
yeah." But yeah, I had no idea that that's what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, my recommendation is gonna
Yes,
be Bad Boys, the new what is it? Bad Boys 4, Ride or Die. It just came out in theaters this past week.
I
I
didn't know
saw
they
it. It
had
was
a new
very
one.
funny. Oh yeah, it's very funny, very funny.
That's with
If you enjoy, go ahead.
who are the actors?
Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, uh, it's a if you've seen the other ones, you know that it's an action comedy. It's
Yeah,
a buddy cop film, and just like with most of the other ones, it's they have to figure out a mystery that's bigger than normal detective work, would be.
yeah,
I won't go into details about what the mystery is, but the whole thing is that Martin Lawrence, his character, uh, has a brush with death that winds up causing him to feel like he is now unable to die.
no.
And Will Smith, his character, is very angry all the time. And it makes for hilarity the entire movie.
Okay, good.
So if you like action comedies that are like buddy cop films, check it out. It's very good.
All right, check it out. We
All
did it.
right, well, I think we did it. I
We
think we
did it.
did it.
Hit him with the outro, Dustin.
Dun dun dun.
Thank you, little dreamers, for listening.
Little Dreamers is our Patreon tier that we have. It's $5. And that just helps to keep the channel running.
Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible.
And you can find us on the socials at TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I don't think we have a Facebook. Anyway, we're on YouTube.
It'll be in the works. Email us your dreams at whatmdreams@gmail.com. Feel free to send us your dreams that we can talk about.
Yeah, and then we can judge you for it.
And enjoy, and a little bit of judging, yeah.
All right, well, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you again. Bye.
Bye.
Did you just snap?
Yes.
I bet you're doing finger guns too, aren't you? Dope.
I did do a finger gun right after.
I knew it.